decoy voice, Tom Steyer got caught in the hood. I mean, yeah. Reality is stranger than fiction. It is just, it's getting to that point where what used to be considered comedy is reality.
Who knew billionaire politicians pandering to black people by promising them reparations, freedom from prison, and rap songs would backfire so violently?
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like people who do crime need to do time. I don't care what their skin tone is. I don't care what their skin tone is. I don't care what their race is. I don't care what their ethnicity is, religion is, gender is. I don't care. You do crime, you have to serve time for it. Like, there is a skew where two people commit the same crime. However, a man... Yeah, you can turn it on. A man is given more of leeway than a woman. A woman would always be charged less than a man because for some reason, us men are just more violent. A woman could get a pass. Like, that's just historically accurate, statistically accurate, where women could do the same crime as men. Or like even among like the black community or white community or whatever you want to call it, where certain people will get tried harder than others. Which, is that right? No, it's absolutely not right. But there are stipulations in the Constitution which give women a little more protective rights than men, which is perfectly understandable. Women should have their own safe places from men, just like men should be able to have their own location to be themselves. Yeah, but of course this kind of stuff backfires when you're a politician. You should never pander to just one community.
Don't put your mother hands on. You gotta let him go.
What's your position on reparations? In 2020, you said, about cut the check. So how are you going to cut the check? What's your
Fuck
position
you
on
and
reparations?
JCO. You know who I am. You can sell.
They want their money. They want their free money. You can't promise people free money and not expect them to get violent, because now they believe that, like, that's the thing. He promised something, it's not going through, they get violent. Why? Because they think that stuff which isn't theirs is theirs. And that's tragic. I mean, like, what was it with after World War II, the Japanese people that were put in like camps like Manzanar and things like that, they were given reparations like as an apology, but it was, you could easily track, because the documents and everything on what family members were suffered in those camps, who had been here, because it was all well documented. However, you go back to like where you had the slaves and everything, most lineages aren't easily tracked back. You could literally have people from like Europe, people from Africa that literally move here just to claim the reparations for something that obviously their ancestors could have been selling them. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous because they're fighting over something that they were promised, which was never theirs to begin with.
Who want to get something? Let's go. I'm sick of you, mother. What's going on? I got these white males in here think ain't nothing gonna happen. Don't do that, mother. Huh? What you mean what is wrong with that? Oh, that must be a light-skinned sister. Hey, Time Spider, I bet not catch you over here with them deadly blue eyes. I bet not catch you over here, Tom Snyder.
Yeah, I don't think he's bought his vote, but I don't feel bad for Tom, as he's just getting a tiny taste of what ordinary Americans feel in unsafe areas like LA. And as he's campaigned on putting the police in prison, he should see the consequences of exactly that, as the mob pulling a blade on his motorcade were demanding reparations, to which Tom has explicitly promised to the Black Ecosystem Forum.
I was the only candidate who loudly and repeatedly championed reparations. And I did that because it seems very clear, and I think the people who've spoken before me have said it very clearly, that in fact, this is what is legally due for generations of structural racism and mistreatment.
Buddy.
And this is the problem. It's just like, he's like, they deserve the aid. And does being financially secure help some people? Yes. Yes, but you will always have those people who refuse to actually do something with their lives, which will always be wanting more. It's like that we had these nursery rhymes back in the day, like if you give a mouse a cookie, they'd want a glass of milk. You know, that kind of stuff, where after you've given someone who hasn't worked for anything something, they want something more because that's something that was given to them. They have no concept of the value of what took to get it. For me, when I see the government giving away so much stuff for free, I immediately put a price tag to that. It's me going to work. It's me slaving away for hours on end and then paying my taxes, which is going to these people who think they're getting something that is free, which it isn't free. There's no concept of something being free. You have to, like, even like the cycles of weather all serves a purpose. Everything, you don't get something from nothing. That's absolutely impossible. Other than like a god, if you're a religious person, nothing comes from, you can't get something from nothing. You can't get something from nothing. But here are all these people wanting something for free when nothing's for free. Nothing's for free, but they don't work for a living, or many people who don't work for a living just feel entitled to it because they've been promised it. They've just been promised it. And that's the thing. It's just like, and it's always the people who are in these safe gated communities that will make fun or preach like, oh, we need to do this stuff. We need to get rid of the cops. We need to get rid of all this stuff. You know what? Have them move to the more impoverished areas where people don't know where their next meal is going to come from. Have them move to those areas and then have them start talking about how cops should be removed. Because a lot of people feel unsafe. Like for me, I live paycheck to paycheck. I live absolutely paycheck to paycheck. It's incredibly disheartening, but it's just what you got to do. It's what I got to do as an adult. It's what I got to do as a human being. I am not going to hoist my problems onto someone else. It's my responsibility as the man and breadwinner of the household. I've got to. So I do. That's what I do. And a lot of people don't see it that way because there are those in the gated communities that feel like they've been given everything in life because they don't remember their parents or grandparents working hard for them. And then there are those in the impoverished community that are just like, I want what those rich people have. Give it to me. Because they don't see it as it was worked hard for. They were just given it because of their skin tone.
Even worse, he's promised to free them from prison.
Where we've worked to get rid of sentence enhancements. And in addition, we've worked really hard for the whole concept of rehabilitative justice. So the idea of pretrial diversion programs, I'm totally behind. I'm totally behind getting rid of the whole concept of life without parole.
Tom's such a bigot that he panders this point blank to their face, thinking they're too stupid to notice that saying, oh, get your vote by giving you money and shortening prison sentences implies you think they're just broke criminals. But that's just what happens when you're a detached from reality multi-billionaire that's been trying to buy your way into politics by pandering to the dumbest how do you do fellow kids campaign ever. As back in 2020, he thought he could gain black support through rap. So now, buying social media support and going down to South Central, getting interviewed by fools going wild for their 3 million followers.
We got candidate for governor of California, Mr. Tom Steyer. What's cracking, Tom?
Well, it's getting close to election time, Mr. E. And I gotta say, it's gonna be a big fight.
Yeah, nobody's getting their politics from a feed that looks like this. But again, this just shows Steyer has a fundamental misunderstanding of people, as apparently he's plugged over $190 million into his campaign targeting Gen Z voters, giving $75,000 to fools going wild and the shade room. Also, they can...
That's not how you target. Like, these people are so disconnected, they don't even understand what the kids are into. Target like Fortnite streamers, or target like a Minecraft streamer, or like something like that. You don't go to this random nonsensical TikTok that has a bunch of followers, but most people probably don't go to that account for any sort of insight. That's not who you go to.
post how the Black Women's Collective has endorsed Steyer over his promises over reparations, only for the comments to be filled with their hate for him. And even though some accounts have accepted the money, he's apparently offering $10 per positive video about him, to which some influencers refuse to sell out, as they're nearly word-for-word scripts, with zero disclosure to their followers. We've seen this same failed playbook during the presidential campaign, like when Kamala went on a basketball podcast to talk black and repeat that whole Doritos line again. But that's just what happens when the Democrats have become the official party of pandering to what they perceive represents minorities. Contrary to their beliefs, we aren't as dumb as they think, and empty campaign promises will never replace charisma. As Tom was out there in South Central, trying to replicate Spencer Pratt's campaign, also in South Central.
I like it. I love it.
Life is not about the past, it's about the present.
I definitely don't like what's happening to California, and it's time for change. Anybody who's going to make a change, and so far what I've seen Spencer doing is pretty savage.
I'm sick and tired of having LA look like a piece of shit.
Don't give me this gaslighting like Karemasura.
We're business owners in LA, we're rooting for you.
Which Tom received the exact opposite reaction. And why does a rich kid like Spencer Pratt, graduating from USC, get a hero's welcome from the hood, while Steyer gets a knife pulled out on the hood of his car? Simply put, Spencer treats them like actual humans and not impoverished criminals that need free money and abolishment of the laws in order for them to succeed. It's such an insanely low standard to meet, but somehow the Democrats...
Like again, everyone wants to be treated like a human being. Everyone wants to be treated like a human being. You talk to them face to face. You get to hear their struggles. You don't target the group and consider them all to be inferior, unable to learn how to get a job. That's the real problem, is most people don't, they're so disconnected, like especially the people up, like so wealthy, they're so above everybody else, that all the peons and everyone beneath them just is an object to be utilized. They're not a human being that needs to be heard. They're just an object. They're just a piece on the playing board. They're unimportant. It's absolutely crazy. Who do you think should be the next president of the U.S.? I like J.D. Vance. I like J.D. Vance, but I'm a little biased because I can relate to him being married to an Indian woman. I'm like, I like him. I like him. But that's honestly, I like how he speaks. I like how he talks. I like how he thinks. But the main part is because of his wife, Usha. I can relate to that. So I can relate. So it's like, I like him. I like him. That'd be nice having a first lady, Indian first lady. I'm like, I'm down. I'm down.
Still can't manage to figure it out. So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy.
I enjoyed JD Vance. I enjoy Decoy voice. I enjoy Decoy voice. JD Vance is too shady. All politicians are shady. All politicians are shady. But at least he speaks his mind and is able to fly off the cuff. Not being able to use like a teleprompter to cue him for everything. That's one thing I don't like, is when these politicians have to read a script that in order to appease, like that's why when politicians go on like their, it's not tour, that's like, well, maybe it is tour, where they go around from state to state when they're trying to run for like presidency or some kind of, where they go around, or from governor, they're going from city to city or whatever it is. They'll make promises to those districts that are only meant for those districts that don't really have, that they truly don't believe in, they don't know anything about, but they're written a script about that. Like JD Vance, when he went to Minnesota, he literally was speaking with the ICE officers. He was speaking with a few of the people there. He was speaking with the state government as well, to find out exactly where the issues were falling apart. That's why when he went on stage to do his interview, he was just speaking off the cuff, answering questions honestly, instructing people who had only seen one side. He's just like, all right, this is what I know. This is what I understand right now. Not being 100% about everything, but like knowing some information. I like that. I like that. But yeah, that's what I enjoy. That's what I enjoy. A campaign, but it's a campaign tour. It's I don't think tour is the word, but yeah, you're right. You're right. A campaign. It's absolutely campaign. They're campaigning. But yeah, they go from town to town, state to state, making promises that only affect that location, but that they never actually fulfill. I mean, the litany of promises that have been made from politicians to like certain towns, to certain states, to certain like locations that have never been fulfilled is far more than the single promise that, and one thing that is like a absolute no, is like saying you won't raise taxes. I think that's why George Bush Sr. only had one term. The one promise that everyone was all for him for was he kept saying he's not going to raise taxes. And then as soon as he got in office, he raised taxes, never got a second term. Of course, his kid, George W. Bush, got a term. Yeah. Yo, Pepziti. Yeah. Where is he at? I heard he was he went live, which is good. I didn't know he went live. Moody is too weak and not educated enough, sadly. Most people aren't. Well, that's the thing. Nobody's educated enough. Nobody is educated enough. Anyone who believes that they have enough education to speak on everything, never listen to them. Never listen to someone who claims they're educated enough to speak on almost everything. Maybe someone, because there are those people who will spend their entire lives reading like the Vedas, reading the Bible, reading these religious texts. They spend their entire lives. And even those who have spent their entire lives can't agree with others who have spent their entire lives reading scriptures, reading sacred text, all that kind of stuff. So in the end, you'll never have someone that knows absolutely everything, and everyone goes at something from a different perspective. Every single person has a different, unique perspective that they take to something.
You guys play the video? So bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, where's that?